Bella chapter 3, it says a time for everything, which is true. You know, God's in control, as we know, and there's always a time for everything. Whether it's bad or good, He's in control. He allows it to happen for a reason. A time for everything. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to tear, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. And is it okay to hate? You know, it's okay to hate sin. It's okay to hate evil. And you know, those who don't repent continue to sin, and they don't repent. You just got to walk away from them and pray that God saves them. You know, and pray that they repent, but have nothing to do with them, because all they're going to do is bring you down into their sin. So it says a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love. So there's a time to love. There's also a time to hate. Read that again, verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. So you know, war's okay under certain war's okay under certain circumstances. You know, like if a country attacks another country, of course the country that was attacked has the right to defend itself. I mean, that's perfectly common sense. That's logic. That's logical. But you're supposed to try to make peace first. But if your enemy doesn't want to make peace, then you just go to war with them. You know, and just defeat them. You know, in that way. The God-given task. What gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has put eternity into a man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. See, we don't know. Of course, us as humans, we don't know everything. We think we do, but we don't. We don't know eternity. You know, I mean, we know what God does, you know, through His Word, but you know, we weren't here when God created everything. You know, that's when we have His Word to go by, and we're not, you know, and at the end of time, or at the end times, I mean, we know what's going to happen about the signs, but you know, no one knows when Christ is coming back. You know, no one knows that day or hour. Only God knows that, of course. But you know, we have the Bible to go by that tells us how God made everything and how God's going to end it all. You know, when He returns. So it says, let's see here. It says, also He has put eternity in man's heart, yet so that he cannot find what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceive that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil that is God's gift to man. I perceive that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken away from it. God has done it so that people fear before Him. And God lets things happen so people can fear Him. That's pretty awesome. He says God has done it so that people will fear, or God has done it so that people fear before Him. That which is already has been, that which is to be already has been, and God seeks what has been driven away. Read that again, verse 15. That which is already has been, that which is to be already has been, and God seeks what has been driven away. From dust to dust. Moreover, I saw under the sun that in the place of justice even there was wickedness, and in the place of righteousness even there was wickedness. I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter and for every work. Indeed, see, when you die or when Christ returns, He's going to judge those who are saved. He's going to judge those who are not saved. Those who are saved and repent of their sins and live for Christ, that you know they will be in heaven with Him. Of course, if God saved them, you know, if God saved them, they repent of their sins and live their lives for Christ, they'll be in heaven with the Lord. But if they didn't, if they were not saved by God, if they did not repent of their sins, they continue to rebel against God, then they'll be cast into the fires of hell. And it's justice. They get what they deserve. It's their judgment. So that's just honest truth. Let's see here. Verse 15. I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and wicked, for there is a time for every matter and for every work. I said in my heart with regard to the children of man that God is testing them, that they may see that they themselves are but beasts or animals. For what happens to the children of man and what happens to the beast is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. As we know, everyone dies, and so do animals. Everything dies. They all have the same breath, which is oxygen, of course, and man has no advantage over the beast, for all is vanity. All get to one place. All are from the dust, and to dust all return. Who knows whether the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of the beast goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his work, for that is his life. Who can bring him to see what will be after him? That's chapter 3. A lot to understand. It talks about a time for everything, meaning God allows good things to happen at a certain time. God also allows bad things to happen at a certain time. It's all for His glory, and it's all He allows it to happen for a reason. Whether it's good or bad, He allows it to happen for a reason. There's always a reason. And then it talks about God's given tasks, meaning that He's in control of everything, and that's just how it is. He's in control. Whatever He wants to be done, He's going to allow it to be done, or He's going to do it, and nothing's going to stop Him because He's God. If He wants something good to happen, He's going to allow it to happen. If He wants something bad to happen, He's going to allow it to happen. He's God. He's in control. That's just how it is, folks. It says from dust to dust, meaning that we were made from the dust to the ground. We were made from like I said, from the dust to the ground. And once we die, we return back to the dust and the ground. Our bodies, of course, our spirits, our souls go on to either heaven or hell, but our bodies decay away. So it's chapter 3, and chapter 4 will be next.